Jack it up. Jack it up. Jack it up. Jack it up. Jack it up.
This in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Commissioner. On February 15th, East Patrol Division officers Brianna Hawley and James Manley were dispatched with fire on a call involving an individual who fell into a lake near an apartment complex. When they arrived, they observed two young women in the water. One was near the shore but having difficulty getting out, and the other was farther from the shore. Both officers removed their vests and duty belts and plunged into the water. They were able to safely get both women out of the water, and the incident was captured on video and widely shared on social media and also covered by the news. In recognition of their efforts, Officers Hawley and Manley will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And I would ask that both officers remain by the flag after the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you all would remain standing, and Chaplain Eubanks, would you please lead us in an invocation this morning?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we welcome you this morning. We come to you thanking you for the men and women who are public servants of our city, as we just witnessed an example of their heroism and bravery. We thank you for them. We thank you for this board and for Chief Graves and the command staff. We pray for wisdom for this body as they make decisions concerning the best path forward for Kansas City, especially as all the conversation about the World Cup and all the people that are coming to the city. Lord, we pray for wisdom in how to handle all of those things. We do pray for an end to the violence that's plagued our city. May the decisions that are made here lead to peace and safety for all of our citizens. We pray that you'll continue to bless our officers as they seek the benefit of their fellow citizens. We ask that you protect them from all evil and anyone who would wish them harm. We thank you for those who serve as professional staff, as they're integral, as they support the collective good. We pray for an increase of people willing to serve this city as officers or call takers or dispatchers. We ask for continued wisdom in every encounter. We pray for their success, because their success is a blessing to our community. May your presence go before them. May your goodness cover them. Bless this body with wisdom, humility, leadership, and unity. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
We have a schedule conflict this morning, and to accommodate some other schedules, I'm going to deviate from our agenda just slightly. So if the presenters could bear with me for just a few minutes, thank you. And Chief, I'll start with you to see if you have any other comments or any comments this morning, and then we have two reports we'd like to get to, and then we'll get back to our normal agenda.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just really quickly, I do want to take a moment to recognize civilian Doug King. He was assigned to the Investigations Bureau when he recently passed away on March 16th, 2026. He was born August 4th, 1971, was only 54 years of age at the time of his death. He was appointed to the department on February 28th in 2022 to start his civilian career. Doug King was previously appointed as a police officer on July 7th, 1996. His assignments were police officer include Central Patrol, Central CAN, TAC Team 3, Mounted Patrol, Property and Evidence and Administration Bureau. He's assigned at the time of his retirement on February 19th of 2022. He was a special person to many of us here. He was a special person. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So as I said, we're going to deviate slightly. So Deputy Chief Mills, why don't we take your section now, if we may?
Morning, and thank you. My information is behind tab E. I have one policy of your consideration, the Retirement, Death, and Tenure Awards. There's only minor changes to this policy, just updating as part of our normal 5-year review. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I move for acceptance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you, and that concludes my report this month.
Deputy Chief McCullum, we'll go to you next.
Good morning, Commissioners. All items for the Executive Services Bureau are located under tab D of your board book. Item A, budget transfers for fiscal year 2025-26. I request that the following appropriations be transferred within the General Fund, Parking Garage Fund, Public Safety Sales Tax Fund, Health Levy Fund, and Police Grants Fund. The General Fund transfer moves $784,700 from personal services to contractual services for workers' compensation claims, computer software maintenance, and contractors within the communications unit. The Parking Garage Fund transfer moves $50 from contractual services to personal services for salaries. The Public Safety Sales Tax Fund transfer moves $408 from the helicopter from helicopter contractual services and $3 from fleet operations capital outlay, totaling $411 to building operations contractual services for equipment repair. The Health Levy Fund transfer moves $110 from personal services to contractual services for fees associated with member life insurance premiums. The Police Grants Fund transfer moves $18,942 from personal services and then the amounts of $16,103 to contractual services and $2,839 to commodities for contract work, training, vehicle leases, and fuel. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, any questions or discussion on those transfers? If none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Item B, adjustment to special revenue accounts for fiscal year 2025-26. I request that $36,000 be appropriated from the unappropriated fund balance of the liability self-retention fund for personnel matters. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
I move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? If none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion passes.
Item C, acceptance of the Midwest High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Investigative Support Center grant modification. In August 2024, the department accepted the fiscal year 2024 HIDA Investigative Support Center award of $418,408. In May 2025, the grant was modified and increased to $455,408. Today, I'm asking for another modification that will increase the award to $492,445.95. This is 100% federally funded. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval to accept this modification.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and just for clarification, the addition is the $37,037.95 additional grant.
Yes, sir.
With that clarification, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Item D, 2026-27 Stop Violence Against Women Subaward. The department recently received the 2026-27 Stop Award Violence Against Women Subaward from the Missouri Department of Public Safety. The subaward funds one forensic examiner who provides biological screening and/or analysis evidence from sexual assault or domestic violence cases. The subaward amount is $161,340.44 from the federal government, with a local match of $75,924.93 for a total award amount of $237,265.37. The subaward period is from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2027. This is our 24th year of receiving funds from this grant. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval to accept this subaward.
I move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Item E, acceptance of the fiscal year 23 National Public Safety Partnership Subrecipient Agreement. The department recently received notification of the Bureau of Justice Assistance fiscal year 23 National Public Safety Partnership Subrecipient Agreement from the city. The award provides $175,000 for one analyst position to support the Save KC initiative. This project is from October 1st, 2023 through October 1st, 2026. This is first subaward from the city for this program and is 100% federally funded. Unless you have any questions, I do recommend acceptance.
Move for approval?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any questions? If none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Unless you have any questions, that completes my report.
No, and thank you for allowing us to shift our agenda around, and so we'll excuse you and allow you to get to your other meeting.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get back to our agenda as it's stated. Ms. Klein, I think you're up next. And thank you for accommodating us this morning to move things around a little bit.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, members of KCPD. So we have a couple of updates from City Hall. Diana Knapp has been named as the Director of the newly formed Department of Community Safety. The Department of Community Safety is responsible for corrections, rehabilitation, and reentry, as well as coordinating and aligning the city's public safety infrastructure cross-departmentally. As the Director of the Department of Community Safety, Director Knapp will guide a modern approach to municipal corrections that integrates public safety, public health, and successful community reentry. Director Knapp brings more than 3 decades of experience across the criminal justice system, including leadership in municipal, state, and county agencies overseeing detention operations, behavioral health programs, and community reentry initiatives. Her career reflects a balanced approach that combines correctional management, public health coordination, and rehabilitative practices designed to improve safety while supporting positive outcomes for individuals and families. Since joining the city last week, Director Knapp has hit the ground running, including interviewing staff, helping to develop policies that are consistent with industry standards, and working with the city's consultants as the detention facility prepares to open this summer. The next update I have is with respect to the gray gambling machines. As you all know, KCPD is an integral partner with the city's multidisciplinary public safety task force. Since the passage of the city's illegal gambling machine ordinance, the task force has conducted inspections at multiple gas stations across the city, leading to the removal of illegal gambling machines. In conjunction, KCPD has issued 30 citations for violations of city ordinances related to these illegal gambling operations, including operating without a proper business license. On behalf of the city and the Public Safety Task Force, thank you for the department's continued commitment and collaboration with respect to improving public safety. And with that, I'll take any questions.
I don't know about questions, but I did want to also thank you for the collaboration, both on the gambling machines and on Director Knapp's new position as we look forward to opening the new facility. So thanks for those 2 updates. Anything else to cover this morning?
Thank you. Great report.
Prosecutor Johnson, good morning.
Good morning again, President Whitaker, members of the board, to the entire department. We are only about 3 months into 2026, and our office is already operating at nearly a 70% filing rate for the month of March. It is a strong start and shows our continued and strong partnership. I also want to spend a moment on domestic violence. We will be starting our new intimate partner violence intervention program soon. Many thanks to a $400,000 grant that we received from the Block Foundation. And that application was made not only by my office, but also with the Kansas City Police Department and the City of Kansas City. Thank you very much to Lace Klein for her assistance and us being able to to secure that funding to get this program off the ground. I also have to give a shout out to Captain Hewitt of the department and Captain Erica Oldham, who has now taken his position. They have been absolutely instrumental into getting me up to speed on the work that happened before I was even sworn in to try to get this type of program off the ground. And collectively, we were able to secure a pretty hefty amount to get some strategic planning assistance from a national organization. And essentially, this is going to be focused deterrence, kind of like Save KC, but really focused on domestic violence and trying to curb that activity that we have seen plaguing our community. For domestic assault cases reviewed so far this year, our office filing rate is nearly 80%. Of the cases that were not filed, the most common reason was uncooperative victim or witness. We're working to provide more support for witnesses in conjunction with a lot of our combat-funded agencies like Rosebrooks, MOXA, Synergy Services, et cetera, so we don't run into this problem as often as we have. And about 80% of all domestic assault cases have been resolved through guilty plea or diversion so far this year. For cases involving intimate partner violence, our filing rate is 84% currently, and nearly 90% of cases involving IPV have resolved via guilty plea. Property crime cases involving intimate partner violence have a 100% filing rate. All of those cases have been resolved. Harassment cases involving intimate partner violence, we also have a 100% filing rate. And we are so grateful for the solid investigative work here and the continuing effort to send cases involving domestic violence to our office where appropriate, as opposed to the municipal prosecutor's office. I'd also like to flag something on the horizon, which is an extension of something that Lace Klein just brought up. Beginning on July 1st, our office will begin to be open for charging referrals on illegal gambling devices. We are working in conjunction with the Attorney General's office to ensure that those operating these devices are held accountable, and I'm also very thankful for her partnership and support in trying to curb this activity. The presence of these devices correlates directly with criminal activity and loitering. They attract violence in our neighborhoods, and I look forward to working closely with KCPD as we all take this on together. I do also want to end by highlighting a couple of notable cases that we've had over the last month. We were able to secure a 35-year sentence for a man who sexually assaulted a woman in downtown in 2024. That sentence is one of the longest our office has ever secured in an adult sex case. This is just one of the many positive outcomes that is a direct result of our ongoing partnership. We have also charged a man after he allegedly placed 20 explosive devices in a trash can near Liberty Memorial. I want to recognize the detectives on the bomb and arson section of the department for the speed and precision of their response. Obviously, as we quickly approach the World Cup, having hundreds of thousands of people in our jurisdiction, it is good for this community to know that our emergency management operations are already running at full steam, and we were able to swiftly file charges on this particular individual. Also on World Cup, I want everybody to know that all of the area prosecutors have been having periodic meetings. We are working together to make sure that we are all on the same page. Now, granted, each county will do things a little bit differently, but having a foundational understanding of what everybody is doing, sharing resources, consulate notification call lists, even drafting guilty plea waivers in different languages to try to expedite some of our processing, and even talking to all of our various court systems on expanding the amount of dockets that we have during the week so that we can stay on top of what we know will be an influx, but we're making sure that it is as manageable as possible. And with that, I'm certainly available for any questions.
But you came into office and you made domestic violence one of your priorities, and so thank you for seeing through that effort. And the $400,000 grant, of course, goes a long way to bringing that focused deterrence model that has produced a lot of good results now into an area that I know is a priority for you. So thank you for that attention. And like Ms. Klein said, the attention out of these gambling machines and working with the Attorney General, I think, is going to produce good results.
Absolutely.
Always appreciate you being here and giving us an update. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, President Whitaker. See you all next month.
Thank you. We have another presentation for the Workday software platform.
Good morning, board members. While they're getting set up, I'll give you a little introduction here. This is Todd Eubanks with Workday. Over the past 2 years, KCPD has been working with city leadership to identify a new ERP system, which is an enterprise resource planning software system. Through our collaborative effort through a collaborative bid process, Workday was chosen as our ERP software. We will hopefully begin working through integration and implementation processes in the very near future. These company representatives have been gracious enough to provide a high-level overview of the software and how it will change the landscape of KCPD.
So, thank you, commissioners, thank you, members of the department, for having us today. This is the beginning of what we think will be a great multi-year partnership between Workday and the city of Kansas City and, of course, the police department. I'm here with Jason Nelson-Rad, who will provide a kind of a brief demo. Also in the audience is Barrett Fisher from Workday, another member of our team that did not make it, that I think some of you know is Adam Sachs, who's helped us in the Kansas City area with some of our other customers. I'll name a few of those. We've got Jackson County, we've got Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas, City of Olathe, City of Lee Summit. Lots of commercial, corporate, speak into the microphone a little bit, okay, sorry. Customers as well, H&R Block, American Century, Commerce Bank, KU Med, Kansas City Life are some of our customers. We have other cities around the country that are using Workday in this capacity as well, including Dallas, Philadelphia, Denver, Los Angeles, several others too. So before Jason gets started, just in a nutshell, ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, what is it? It is a way to manage your people and your money in an efficient way. And also, we're adding AI capabilities constantly to our platform, and you can manage those as you see fit if you want to use them. If you don't want to use them, it's an opt-in, opt-out kind of technology. So ERP has been around for a long, long time. It started with mainframes, client-server kind of platforms, and about 20 years ago when Workday was founded, the term cloud was just kind of coming into play, and it's Workday from day one has been delivered in the cloud. So this technology, the benefit for the city of Kansas City, that it removes the technology out of your data centers. All of the cost, the maintenance, the manpower, and the electricity that costs the city to manage that platform is out of the data centers, is now delivered by Workday in the cloud. So it's a way to create efficiencies, reduce cost. You have business process that is probably a big improvement from perhaps what you're doing today with older disconnected platforms, perhaps spreadsheets, maybe even paper and a lot of things, and makes it all automated and self-managed by your employees. And then it's all delivered in the cloud, so you get the updates automatically. And like I said, it's just a way to increase efficiency, manage your people, manage your money, and get you analytics at your fingertips. Everybody in this room should have access to the platform. You should be able to get the data that you want to see on a real-time basis with regards to people and money. So that's it in a nutshell. I'll let Jason get to his presentation here, and then we'll be available to answer any questions later. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Nelson-Rad. I live here in town. And I'll just kind of talk a little bit more about Workday and what it looks like. We'll jump in and take a look at the software real quick. So Todd mentioned managing your people and your money. Well, you can see on the right-hand side over here is HR, HCM related solutions. Everything from core HR to payroll, time tracking, and so on. And then on the left-hand side is all your financial portion of Workday. And this could be procurement, grants, projects, and so on. So all of this, I think what's different about Workday versus other systems is that all of this is in one single system. It isn't separate siloed systems where you have to have integrations and talk to one another. It is all built on one single security model, just going through the bottom bar down here. It's a very modern system. It was created by the founders of PeopleSoft. And they sat down and decided what they wanted to do differently from PeopleSoft. And one of those things is that it uses an object data model as opposed to interacting with a relational database. This gives our customers a lot of advantages, like very easily being able to create reports, but also very easily being able to have security across the whole thing. And all of this can be accessed through a browser or a mobile app. We have one mobile app for Android, one mobile app for Apple. So a good portion, we process about 500 billion mobile transactions a month across all of our customers. Like Todd mentioned, we have AI built into the solution. I can show you an example of that if you'd like. We're going to agentic AI as well, so this is going to process things for you, keeping humans in the loop. Integrations are built in, reporting and analytics are built in. I'll show you an example of a dashboard here in just a minute. We have business processes built in so you can get work done. This is workflows inside of the solution as well. Oh, and I hit the wrong button. Let me start that back up. There we go. So again, you can access it through a browser. It's all HTML5, which is the most modern version of HTML. It's a responsive design, very accessible. We have a full accessibility team. Anything that gets released at Workday goes through an accessibility assessment and requirements that they have to meet. You can also access Workday and perform actions directly from natural workspaces like Slack or Teams. Do you guys use Teams? Yeah, so you can be in Teams and you can ask natural language questions or perform actions like I would like to take time off on Friday directly inside of Teams that will interact with Workday and request the time off for you. But there's a lot of different actions that you can take within those. So around the reporting and analytics, again, because it's all one platform, that means that all the data is going to be available in separate siloed systems. All that data is typically hard to access and it requires joining of tables and so on. Now the in-memory object data model, it lives in memory as opposed to databases live on disk. Sorry, I'm getting a little technical here. But that means that the reporting is going to be much faster than legacy systems. And we're the only vendor that has a performance SLA. We guarantee our response times on this, on our transactions. It's very secure. Security is built in. It's automatic. So if you create a report, you share it with a group of users, you don't have to worry about if they have the ability to see information or not see information. It's going to be built in. You can share that report, and those people are only going to see exactly what they have permission to see. You don't have to create separate reports for different groups of users. And it's a SaaS solution, so every customer's on the exact same version of the software. That makes it very collaborative. All of our customers are sharing reports and integrations with one another because there's no cross-version compatibility issues. So let's just jump in and take a look at Workday real quick. Okay, I think I might have to close out of my PowerPoint here. No, I might need some help. It's still showing the demo even though I have my browser up. I can just close out of this. Yeah, close out of that altogether. Doesn't like whenever you switch between applications, apparently. It doesn't want to show my browser. I know you're dying to see what it looks like. Don't make me wait any longer, right?
Let me, while you're pulling that up, I just get a question in here while you're working on that. I'm familiar with Workday. It's a great tool. Captain, give us a sense, what are we going from and to? We know what we're going to, but what were the processes in place that we're moving from?
We currently use the New World system, which was purchased in the mid-90s. This is a Tile Technologies product. We are the last remaining software user, and their support for this software will cease in December of 2027.
At some point, I'm also going to want to follow up on the training. What does the training look like for our team to be able to use the system? But it looks like you've got your demo up.
I'll address the training real quick. So included with the city contract is training credits for the employees. So, and for the administrators and the users. Accenture is currently coming close to finishing the contract for implementation, and they'll also provide some training as part of the implementation, which I believe will start May or June, I think.
Do we see a trainer, sort of a train-the-trainer type of?
There's that kind of setup as well through Accenture as they're implementing, sitting side by side with city employees, department employees, so that they understand the system, they learn the system as they're.
Major, what are the budget implications of the change?
Thus far, the city has absorbed all of the costs. The KCPD portion of the cost will be part of our FY28 budget proposal.
So is the migration happening at the same time, implementation both on the city side and with KCPD?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is a collaborative effort.
I'll just add this too. So we understand the police wants to be a separate part of the city. So within Workday, in what we call a tenant, which is kind of like an instance of a software, the software tenant, they're separated. So we have two organizations, the police department and then the rest of the city, that are separated with separate security and separate business process, separate analytics. So city people can't necessarily look into the department or likewise. So it can be separated that way as much or as little as you want.
Since we're on this line, is it all right if we continue some
Yes,
questions
yes,
while
sure.
we're going through this? And so I think the tactics and the day-to-day, we leave that to the administration to figure out. From a board perspective, though, we always want to do diligence. You've mentioned cybersecurity or the security threat. So ISO 27001 or something similar to that, is that the standard that you're using?
Yeah, we're certainly certified ISO 27001, along with a lot of other ISO certifications. We offer SOC 2 reports that will allow you to review our entire security practices. Those are all available.
Okay. And then along those same lines, on the AI module or tool that could be used, does that take our data out to other AI platforms and share that, or is it contained within our cloud enterprise?
Yeah, so no city data would be used to train external models. It would all be internal models, and even then, that data, we try to anonymize it as much as possible we're still getting great results for the AI. We're also ISO 42001 certified, and that's specific to AI. We helped develop the NIST AI risk management framework. So we're actually one of the only vendors, one of 3 vendors in the United States that can claim both of those. Yeah, security is really our top priority.
As you can imagine, it's really important for us because all of our customers are on the same platform. So it's the same security model for all of our customers. Federal government agencies, largest retail organizations, largest banks in the world are all on Workday. So it is essential for us to have really tight security. So we invest a lot in that.
Go back to the demo now.
So this is what Workday looks like. And now this may look different for each individual user that logs in. For example, over here on the left, if you're more focused on just, let's say, HR, HCM, might not see financials. So that may look different for everyone. But it is responsive, so that means that it doesn't matter. You're not going to have to scroll left or right. And again, we also have the mobile app for this as well. A lot of these things that you see down here can be surfaced via machine learning, like recommended for you, or frequent actions, or awaiting your task might be business processes that you're participating in. This could be anything that you're a part of as far as a workflow can be shown right here. Now, the search bar is usually what people start with, but we also have this chat. So we were talking about interacting with Workday through Microsoft Teams. You can, of course, interact in natural language directly inside of Workday here. So if you wanted to request time off here, you can do it in natural language also. So I would like to request Friday off. And then that's going to call what's called agentic AI, or self-service agent. And it's going to be able to request time off for you right here. And it just interact with you. If you have questions, you can interact with it right here. This is great for, let's say, users that aren't in Workday all the time. They can just talk to it in natural language. But also, we offer lots of dashboards and reports. I'll just bring up a dashboard just to show you what it looks like. This is an HCM vision board. And really what our dashboards are is a combination of reports and actions that you can take for a certain persona. Now, in this case, I'm not really focused so much on the reports within this, but just the fact that what the reports might look like also, right? So in this case, you can see workforce cost visibility, headcount, and open position by agency. This is a delivered dashboard. Now, you can modify this as well to show information that's important to you. But this is just a quick little glance at Workday. There's a lot to this. There's, of course, integrations, reporting like we talked about, and business processes behind the scenes that are operating. This is all delivered through a SaaS solution, so we're going to update the solution for you. You don't have to manage your own updates, which can be very timely and costly. That's part of being a SaaS solution. But any questions for me, or anybody would like to see anything else?
A little bit on the timeline now. Spoke to that a little bit. We're doing this with the city. I assume there's a data migration and then implementation and training.
Correct. I am not part of the statement of work negotiations with Accenture. I would expect that we're looking at about an 18-month implementation is what I think it will be. Jackson County got live in under 12 months. City of Kansas City and the police department, of course, is much larger than Jackson County. I think 12 months would be possible, but doubtful. I think it'd be more like 18 months for financials and HR to get fully implemented.
And we're doing both the HR and the financial implementation?
I believe so.
Will that meet our timelines?
Yes, the contract with Accenture is still in negotiations. We have an anticipated start date midsummer.
Well, but I think the coordination is with the system we have now as it ages out to make sure
Yes.
some overlap there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and the new world here, the city's on an older version of PeopleSoft, which is an Oracle product. We replace PeopleSoft a lot. Accenture does it a lot. They know what they're doing. It's a good process, and we have lots of good references of where it's been highly successful, on time and on budget, and we would expect that with the city here as well.
Great.
And really, you know, what we've done here is, you're familiar with a lot of the consumer internet models. You use Google, you use Netflix, you use Amazon in your personal life. Why can't your business run the same way? So we've taken the consumer internet model and made it accessible for government and business users so they can get the data and do the business process that they need. And that's kind of what we're showing here. So.
Thank you for being here this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate working together.
Thanks.
So obviously, this project will represent a significant lift for the department. It will completely modernize all of our systems, from accounting and payroll to human resources. It will affect every member of the department. and will represent a generational change for our organization. Any questions? That concludes.
Are there any hardware or software implications here that we need to upgrade our systems in order to be able to?
We're
utilize
still
this?
working through all that. Manager Turley will be the project manager for KCPD. The city is hiring out a project manager for their side.
Seems like whenever there's an upgrade or a new system, there are some unknowns along the way that we need to be mindful of.
Anticipate so, yes.
That's exciting. That's a good move. Great. Thank you.
It's very exciting. Great.
All right. Deputy Chief Niemeyer, maybe turn it over to you.
Good morning. The items for the Investigations Bureau will be under tab A in your book, and we obviously will have a PowerPoint to follow along with. The first item I'd like to discuss is the overdose report came out at the end of February, and we kind of discussed it last month. But I wanted to show you these numbers, and I'll just stay with the ones on year-to-date numbers. Total overdoses, and this is just for our department. Year-to-date, we've had 23 compared to 62 last year and 59 the year before. Fatal overdoses, we've had 5, and last year at the same time we had 28. And then the last number on the right is the amount of times we've used Narcan. So 16 and 26, which is up to date for this year, 24 at the same time last year, and 21. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is we'd had a discussion, or there was a question last month, or maybe it was the month before, about overdoses and where we were at. And I think I may have stated that we were slightly up or slightly down. I can't remember exactly what I said at that board meeting, but once I got these numbers, I thought it was very important to show that if you think back a couple years ago, we reorganized what some of our drug detectives did. And that was under Major Buck and Captain Lamport, and they redid that unit to where we responded out on every single drug overdose. And we hadn't been doing that. And we've had some very successful cases where we charged the supplier with those narcotics and got convictions. So with that information, I just thought it was important to show how we have made an impact in the last 2 years by making an organizational change of what we're doing. So that was a really good change in the way that Captain Lamport and Major Buck and the rest of all the detectives, of course, put this together. I think did make a difference for us as a department. We made a difference for us as a city. And I normally take questions at the end, but does anybody have any questions about these numbers?
Yeah, maybe one. Well, first, this is a very positive trend analysis. So that's great to see. I think that goes to what you're saying with the dedicated resources to go out to each one of the overdose. You also mentioned a couple of meetings ago, I think, that the efficacy of the Narcan is not always what it was the last couple of years, and that could be because some changing in the underlying makeup of the fentanyl or whatever drug.
Correct.
Is that
Still correct.
Still correct. And is there a solution for that, or that's the science is catching up with what is happening in society?
Again, I believe you're on track. So we continue and we stay with Midwest HIDA. A lot of these, like this report's Midwest HIDA. So we don't just track all this here in Kansas City. We track it nationwide with them. Each and every month we have a meeting, and as those things come in, I can keep us updated. But we're doing the same thing across the country to try to keep up. It's ever changing. Next year it'll be a different trend. Or, I always go back to. I don't like to date myself, but when I was in interdiction several years ago, we found fentanyl. We didn't know what fentanyl was then. We never had it in Kansas City, and it wasn't until a year or two later that it really became, this is what it is. So, that's what happens here. You can see all the overdose deaths back in 24, and you catch up and go, hey, what are we going to do? Well, part of that is Narcan. So as they change the drug, we need to change the response. On the blue sheet, year-to-date, we are at 27 homicides compared to 29 at the same time last year, which is a 7% decrease. We have cleared 15 homicides from this year and 8 homicides from the previous year, for a total of 23 cases. And again, good or bad, this is my stat, we are at an 85% clearance rate for this year. And I want to note that we are now basically a quarter of the way through the year. So even though every single homicide is terrible, I mean, one life is too many, but I can't remember the last time we were at 85% a quarter of the way through the year. So that's a department-wide effort. I could talk about cases, a couple of cases that's happened in the last 2 weeks where it was officers respond, do a great job at the scene, the detectives arrive, the analysts participate and start leads, which turns into our Special Investigations Division being called out from home to start doing surveillance, and we have people in custody within hours. So you do not get clearance rates like this without the effort that our folks are putting in. We will always continue to work cases, whether if we have a case that's unsolved, we continue to work those cases as well, and always will, whether it's this year's, last year's, the previous years. So although I want to be cautious about how I say this, but super proud of our work and super proud of that 85%, but also know that we continue to work other cases. So I don't want any family out there to think, wow, they're at 85%, but what about this case? We will continue to work that.
Deputy Chief, just a quick follow-up. You know, in past meetings, you've clarified to us that, and this is for those who are listening, that clearance rate is also a component of public trust and people working, the community actually working with the police department and providing information when they can. So it's also a factor of that as well. And I think it's important that people understand that while, you know, it's a reflection of the entire department, it's also a reflection of the community communicating with the police department and working with them. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am. And I say that whenever I say it's a complete effort. It's a lot of times we talk about how do we curb crime or we do things. That's why I'm always kind of cautious, because I report on the Investigations Bureau, and the thing that I can talk to my folks about or the detectives about is what's our part? What is our part to help solve the problem? And our part is whether it's homicides we're talking about, or we've talked about our robbery unit. We just talked about our domestic violence unit. Those cases are submitted by the domestic violence detectives that are being prosecuted. So all of those things, our portion of the Investigations Bureau is to do our part. And that does come with the help of the community, but it also comes with the help of different parts of our department to make the numbers what they are today. So I like to know that it is really, we've worked really hard to have this collaboration, not just outside the department, but inside the department too, with commanders, detectives, different bureaus, different divisions, all those kinds of things. And I think we've had a conversation where I told you it's taken a while to get there, but I think we've been seeing it. We're seeing the fruits of that labor. We'll break down the homicides by division. February, Center Zone had 5 homicides, Metro had 4, East Zone had 2, North Patrol 0, South Patrol 0, and Shoal Creek had 0. We currently have 7 homicides for the month of March. Our non-fatal shooting comparison report is not as good. In February of 2026, this year, we have had 28 non-fatal shootings. In February 2025, we had 17. So that's a 65% increase for the month. I will note that we had a couple of shootings that we have talked about in here, one of which was we've had a couple of what I would call mass shootings. We had one that had 5 victims at it, and we had one that had 4 victims at it. When you have incidents like that, it drives those numbers in the wrong direction. From January 1st to March the 22nd, we've had 73 non-fatal shooting victims as compared to 58 last year, which is a 26% overall increase. And finally, as the case updates for the Investigations Bureau, I wanted to discuss two things. First, I want to discuss the amount of narcotics that we have seized since the beginning of the year. It is a bit concerning. However, it is a good thing that we have, these numbers are as high as they are, which means we are taking narcotics off the street. So this year we have seized 510 pounds of cocaine compared to 8 pounds at the same time last year. We have seized 71 pounds of methamphetamines compared to 53 pounds last year. We have seized 2,656 pounds of marijuana compared to 376. And people will say, well, isn't marijuana legal? This is illegal marijuana that's being taken across state lines from different states moving to or through Kansas City. And then lastly, the other number I want to say is we have seized 50 pounds of heroin compared to 0 last year. So those numbers are significant in comparison to what we were seeing. You know, people may ask why the big numbers. It would be a guess for me to answer that question. So I'll try to answer it before you ask me how did you get to these numbers? We do work with agencies outside of Kansas City. We work with our federal partners as well. So these numbers are up significantly, but these are narcotics that we have taken off the streets. So, and then lastly, before I take any questions, I also was going to say a little bit about Doug King. He worked in our office for the last 5 years with Sergeant King and I, and he will be missed. But I wanted to thank some of our department members. One is which is retired Captain Larry Weimhold. He was super helpful. We called him and said, hey, we need some assistance. Doug needs some assistance, and he put out a call and was very helpful. Sergeant King has been his right-hand person, meaning Doug King's right-hand person for several years now, and what he has gone through, so I thank her as well. And just want to say he will be missed. And with that, I'd take any questions that you may have on my report.
I just react to thank you for the update on the narcotics, but I think you've also shared with us that ebbs and flows throughout the year, that just because we see these, it will change throughout the year as other interdiction and other efforts are made. So what was more compelling was what you started with, and that is the overdose numbers are trending in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
We'll just continue to monitor the seizures of the drugs as we go throughout the year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Deputy Chief Maven.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Before I provide my report, let me introduce Major Will Hewitt. Major Hewitt commands Central Patrol Division, and I've asked him to provide a brief presentation on some of the great things going on within his division. I often have our specialized units present, but I think it's important also to hear from our patrol division commanders. After Major Hewitt's presentation, then I'll go over notable events for February and the median response times and traffic division report.
Good morning. My name is William Hewitt. I'm currently the Major of Central Patrol Division. I just want to take a second. I know Lace Klein is still here, and kind of put my hat on from my previous assignment in SVU, and just thank Lace and Melissa for all their work on the intimate partner violence. I think that's headed in a great direction, and there's some great leadership in SVU currently, and some detectives doing a lot of great work. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and I appreciate Colonel Nehemeyer's leadership as well, and Major Kirkhoff, who's still there. So I appreciate the opportunity today just to kind of give you a brief presentation and kind of high-level overview of Central Patrol Division, some of our current strategies, and highlight some of our operational successes. Before I get started, I just want to recognize all the law enforcement officers and professional staff that I get to work with every day at Central Patrol. They're doing some great work. Some of those aren't even assigned to Central Patrol. Some of them are assigned to our Community Engagement Division, as well as our Property Crimes Unit, which is assigned to Investigations Bureau. I do have with me today several of my members I just want to take a chance to introduce. I've got Captain Jason Cody. He's our Assistant Division Commander on days. And then Captain Andrew Gore, who's our Assistant Division Commander on PMs. And then I'll have him stand up, but to the right there is Sergeant Charles Barbosa. He's our supervisor over our proactive squad. And then to his left is Sergeant Aaron Bryant. He is a sergeant over our downtown footbeat unit, as well as he oversees our full-time officer that's assigned to the KC streetcar and our 2 full-time officers that are assigned to the KC ATA. So I appreciate them all being here today. And they all are kind of the backbone of what happens daily at Center Patrol and are a big part of all the success that I think we're having. So just a little overview of Center Patrol. We cover downtown Kansas City, what everybody thinks of downtown Kansas City, as well as portions of our urban core, along with a lot of our entertainment districts, business corridors, and some of our major event venues. Because of that responsibility, we're putting a big focus on our proactive policing, our strong partnerships, and some of our prevention strategies. Additionally, as we've seen, our staffing levels continue to improve with the addition of our Central Patrol proactive squad last fall, as well as just the volume of officers that are successfully graduating the police academy, making it off a break-in, and then joining our staff. We're also seeing some positive trends in our crime data. So during the first quarter of 2026, we've seen some encouraging reductions in both our violent crime and our property crime. Our violent crime is down about 21% year to date, and our property crime is down about 30% year to date. While we often talk a lot about our violent crime because of the impact on public safety, we also recognize that property crime is what often most affects both our residents, our businesses, and our visitors on a daily basis. Because of this, we're placing a strong emphasis on trying to identify some of our repeat contact individuals that we're having, as well as some of the locations where we're seeing a lot of our crime occur within the division. At the same time, our officers are continuing to handle a very large call volume on a daily basis, while also increasing their proactive activity. We've been very intentional about using directed patrol, our officers assigned to our proactive squad and our downtown footbeat, and using data to drive our deployment so that we can focus on some of these repeat contact individuals as well as locations within our division. Overall, we're seeing some positive trends while we continue to focus on prevention, visibility, and maintaining safety within our division. So a major focus for us has been strengthening our division-wide proactive policing strategy by really including all of our personnel with our proactive squad and our downtown footbeat really serving as kind of a key components of these efforts. Across our division, we're emphasizing the proactive deployment, using data to guide our decisions, and improving our staffing stability while also maintaining our relationships with our investigative unit. We've also begun to leverage our Peregrine platform to help us identify some of those repeat contact individuals and locations and identify patterns so that we can try to address them sooner than later. Our proactive squad and our footbeat unit play an important role in this strategy by focusing on those repeat contact individuals as well as those locations, while also maintaining strong relationships with all of our stakeholders within the division. Our goal is really to reduce our repeat demand on patrol resources by identifying these chronic areas and individuals and also focusing on prevention rather than simply responding for calls for service. An important part of our proactive strategy is really the partnerships that we've built in the division. We continue to host and attend community meetings. We work closely with our downtown businesses and community improvement districts, as well as our many city stakeholders. We also work very closely with the KC Streetcar and KC ATA and other partners to address repeat locations and quality of life concerns through a problem-solving approach. This includes coordination with outreach groups and city partners to address chronic issues involving our houseless population through both an enforcement when necessary, but also connection to resources when appropriate. These partnerships play a critical role in how we're preparing for major events and transportation safety operations. Because our division covers downtown, we play a pretty large role in a lot of the major event planning and transportation safety that goes on in the city. Our partnership with the KC Streetcar and KC ATA continues to grow. We currently have 2 officers assigned full-time to the KC ATA, and we have 1 officer assigned full-time to the KC Streetcar, but we're looking to add a second full-time officer to that role. These efforts are really continuing to strengthen that presence and our coordination in the downtown corridor. We're also actively engaged in preparation efforts for the World Cup, which will be here in June and July, as a lot of those events surrounding the World Cup are going to occur within our division. We're working really close with our events and special planning, our special projects unit with this work, while also ensuring that we maintain a level of service our community expects from us every day. Moving forward, we remain focused on our really strengthening our proactive policing across our division, while we continue to try to stabilize our staffing and expanding our use of data to really guide our deployment decisions. Also maintaining the strong partnerships that we have with all of our stakeholders, both in our community as well as our businesses. We also remain focused on preparing for major events while continuing to provide the level of service our community expects. Our goal is pretty simple: prevent crime where we can, respond to calls as needed, and continue to build trust in the community we serve. I appreciate your time this morning, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question for the Major. First of all, thank you for that report.
You're welcome.
You do have as all of our divisions are critical, but you do have one that gets a lot of events and will be very under high profile, under a microscope, right, for coming up the next few months. You mentioned stabilizing staffing. Share with us a little bit about how are your levels now? What do you mean when you say stabilizing staffing? Are you where you should be? Or I would think for events, people are brought in from other divisions to help support, but
Absolutely.
Share with us a little bit about that.
So I came to Center Patrol at the end of 2025, and I would say, an example would be is that this class that recently got off of probation and released to solo status, we added 6 of those recruits to our Watch 1 or our shifts that start coming in at 1,400 every day. And so our staffing levels have improved greatly, kind of on our overnight. And then we have that class that's currently in now that has, I don't know what the exact number is, 48, which is very encouraging. And so in my office, I have a picture board up with everybody's face and see where everybody's at. We can see that the levels with the number of recruits that are joining the police department and then successfully completing the academy, we can see the difference that it's making. And we can see that staffing level. I know that staffing level is going to continue to improve. And now that I think a lot of the divisions are seeing their overnight shifts are really starting to fill up, which is going to allow more backfill into the days as these recruit classes continue to graduate. So that's what I mean by stabilizing. I just think that we are trending in the right direction, and there's great improvements that I think are happening across the department. But within our division, the addition of our proactive squad last year, we were the first division to get a proactive squad back. And it has been, adding that with our downtown footbeat has been a huge help for us.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the focus on the strategy and the data-driven deployment. I think that's critical. I do want to follow up. It's a down in the weeds question, but over the last year or two, we saw the uptick downtown Crossroads Entertainment District in street activity, either the street racing or UTVs. What's the update on that? Has that started to trend in the right direction? Is it still as much of an issue?
So with the warmer weather, we have started to see some of that popping up. I will say that our officers that have had some really good success implementing some of the enforcement on those individuals and those groups in the last 3 weekends where we've seen that uptick. I would say that it's not as much as what we've seen in the past. I guess we'll wait and see how the summer progresses, but I think a lot of the city ordinances that have been put in place to kind of give us some more leverage when it comes to towing vehicles and issuing tickets to spectators has made an impact. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I will begin the notable events with another incident in East Patrol that was widely shared on social media and covered by the news. Officers were dispatched on a call involving a toddler who was found walking outside with a dog. Initially, officers were unable to locate the child's parents. However, the dog kept nudging the officers as if it was trying to get their attention. So the officers decided to follow once the dog started walking away. Ultimately, the dog led the officers to the child's residence where they discovered another unattended juvenile inside the home. Fortunately, officers were quickly able to locate the parents and reunite them with the juveniles. South Patrol Division personnel partnered with the Transition Center of Kansas City and the Center for Conflict Resolution to host a town hall discussion with approximately 50 justice-involved residents who are participating in a reentry program. South Patrol officers and residents discussed life experiences, challenges, and future goals. The event helped foster trust and mutual respect between the officers and individuals reentering the community. The community interaction officers attended 60 community meetings and participated in 18 events during the month of February. They completed 3 crime prevention through environmental design surveys, including an assessment of a hotel in preparation for the upcoming FIFA World Cup 2026. They also worked with CIT and city partners to decommission 6 homeless camps. The Police Athletic League recorded over 1,200 visits in February with a daily average of 47 participants and a total of 65 new enrollments. The PAL board also hired a student from Avila University to assist with youth basketball programs and to serve as a mentor. Here are the response time reports. The median response time for priority 1 calls was 8 minutes and 11 seconds. This is a 5-second decrease compared to January and a 17-second decrease compared to February 2025. The median response time for priority 2 calls was 9 minutes and 56 seconds, a 17-second decrease compared to January and a 30-second decrease compared to February 2025. Moving on to the traffic division, there were 1,348 traffic accidents citywide in February, a 4% increase compared to February 2025. There were also 2,693 traffic accidents from the beginning of the year through the end of February 2026. That's a 1% decrease compared to the same period last year. Looking at fatal crashes, there were 6 during the reporting period. One of these cases was charged in custody. 3 of the cases have been solved and case files will be presented upon completion of the investigation. The 2 remaining fatal crashes were exceptionally cleared with the death of the offender, and 1 fatal crash case from a previous month was also cleared in February. There were 11 fatal crashes from January 1 through the end of February, with a total of 11 victims. In 2025, there were 6 fatal crashes with 8 victims during the same time period. The department issued a total of 6,384 traffic tickets during the rating period, a 23% increase compared to February 2025. We also issued 12,704 tickets from January 1 through the end of February 2026, and that's a 34% increase compared to the same period in 2025. Traffic Enforcement Unit conducted a transit lane-only enforcement project for the Kansas City streetcar during the month of February. The project spanned 15 days and primarily focused on Main Street between Linwood and 39th Street. Traffic officers made 71 traffic stops and issued citations or written warnings for 42 transit lane violations, 11 improper turn violations, 8 moving violations, 26 non-moving, and 10 parking violations. And on February 12th, members of the unit conducted an enforcement operation in school zones and on highways throughout the city from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. They stopped 270 vehicles and issued citations or written warnings for 232 moving violations, 121 non-moving, and 12 for driving while suspended or revoked. Then on the 18th, they conducted another school zone and highway enforcement operation from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. This time, they stopped 273 vehicles, issued 255 citations or written warnings for moving violations, and 109 for non-moving violations. And finally, on 2 occasions during the month, members of the unit conducted vehicle escort training in preparation for World Cup 2026. The training consisted of our motorcycle officers practicing 5 team bus escort routes throughout the city. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
No questions. Just a comment. I'd like to thank you for bringing in the leadership team for Central Patrol. I think that's phenomenal. I look forward to the other divisions.
Thank you.
Chief Ortiz, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. While we wait, my information is under tab C in your books. I will provide a brief update on workforce development and crime laboratory performance. As of February 28th, 2026, the department had 1,129 law enforcement officers. In addition, we had 78 police officer candidates in the academy, including 29 police officer candidates who graduated on March 12th, plus 2 laterals who graduated on March 13th. That brings our total sworn staffing and candidates to 1,209 members. We had 553 professional staff members. We were processing 14 lateral candidates. And for the 188th academy class, which begins May 4th, we had 13 candidates with pending job offers and 40 additional candidates in the hiring process. In the communications unit, we had 28 candidates in the hiring process. On February 12th, 31 applicants passed the physical agility test and will now advance to the next phase of the hiring process. The upcoming testing dates at the Regional Police Academy are displayed on the screen, and our next physical agility test is scheduled for April 16th. Last month, our academy staff also conducted another successful women's personal safety seminar with 84 participants. The seminar provided practical instruction in basic self-defense skills and reflects our continued commitment to community engagement and public safety education. Lastly, let's move on to the crime laboratory performance. For the month of February, the crime laboratory processed 77 crime scenes, completed testing on 580 cases, examined 3,745 items of evidence, conducted 6 laboratory tours for 85 participants, and they also provided 35 court testimonies in support of investigations and prosecutions. In closing, we remain focused on 3 priorities: building a strong workforce, supporting the well-being of our members, and strengthening community engagement. Thank you for your continued support. That completes my update.
Any questions? I have one. Of the 31 that went through the most recent agility test, can you remind us, is that on pace with what we would typically see so that future classes will be of similar sizes?
That number reflects a little bit lower than the previous year that we had. And that doesn't mean that our team in the employment unit is not committed. They are committed and motivated to continue providing as many as we can, but that does reflect a little bit lower than previous years.
Yeah, it's interesting to reflect on that in comparison to where the unemployment rate continues to move around and how many are in the workforce that are still moving to other positions. So it's just something for us to continue to monitor, and I think you're going to tell us that the recruitment has not stopped. We're still recruiting as much as we have most recently.
Absolutely, we continue recruiting, and our team, again, is motivated, and they continue to do all the necessary partnerships with our community, with universities, with military personnel, and they're active 24 hours a day.
Thank you. I'm getting caught up here.
I know, I feel a little out of whack going
Yeah.
after Colonel Ortiz instead of Colonel Mills, but we're flexible here. Good morning, Commissioners. I have one action item for you, and it's under tab F in your board book. Devin A. Brosemer is appealing the suspension of his armed private security license. On February 7th, 2026, Lee Summit Police arrested Brosemer for an instance of domestic violence. Brosemer's conduct violated the applicable regulations, including 17 CSR 10-2.050 3N. If there are any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. Otherwise, the Private Officer Licensing Unit recommends denying this appeal.
Mr. Weiner, just a couple of questions. Was the violation, I understand that the first violation was obviously being arrested. Did he have an obligation to report or to respond that he didn't? Is that my understanding?
I would have to double check on that. The licensees do have an obligation to report their contact with criminal justice agencies, so.
And he's appealing a suspension. It's not, it wouldn't be.
Revocation at this point.
Revocation yet, correct? And depending on what happens with his case.
Yes.
Okay.
I move to uphold the
And
suspension.
sorry, Commissioner, he did fail to provide that information. So, thank you.
So there's a motion to uphold the suspension.
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion or any other questions about that motion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that it?
Thank you. The rest of my report will be in closed session.
Nothing for OCC.
Nothing for OCC. And any public comments?
No.
That takes us to our minutes from our last meeting, February 24th. Any amendments or changes to the minutes?
I'll move for approval.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Kenner?
I have nothing at this time.
Mr. Lucas isn't here. Mayor Lucas. Commissioner Boswell?
I have nothing either.
Commissioner Romias?
Great meeting. Thank you so much for everything you and the entire department is doing just to keep our folks, our citizens safe out there. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm going to end the meeting with recognition and some gratitude. I don't know if many of you know, but the World War I Museum and Memorial recently, for 17 days, hosted some of our country's founding documents. First time they've ever left Washington, D.C. We were the first stop on this tour as we celebrate or start to celebrate our country's 250th anniversary. And they recognize, they being the Museum and Memorial, but also our federal partners, the great work and cooperation they have with KCPD in getting those documents from the airport safely housed, getting 21,000 people over 17 days through the facility to be able to look at those. And so I thought it appropriate to share that there's some people that are very thankful that we were there to help and support that effort. I want to pass that on. That's all I have. So with that, we can move into closed session.
Move that we go into closed session.
Second.
That's a roll call vote.
Boswell, aye.
Whitaker, aye.
Romeus, aye.
Stand adjourned. Thank you very much.